Hey, good evening. Good evening.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Miss Tony. Hey, Veronica. Okay,
Hi.
that's all I'm gonna say tonight. Y'all got it from here.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So, how was y'all Thanksgiving?
Mine was very good. I went to see some relatives in Jacksonville. I stayed in town. Hubby traveled to Baltimore. Maryland. Had a wonderful time, and I ate
Okay,
food one day, and I'm so proud of myself.
you ate seafood one day.
Junky food, because
Oh,
I eat healthy, so I kind of stepped away for one day, and then I resumed eating healthy that day afterwards. So I'm very proud of myself, which was very difficult. I stayed home and locked the door and didn't answer any phone calls, but I was able to make it.
oh, okay. Sound like you
Right?
had it lined up.
Necessary.
And what did you do, Miss Tony?
Well, I just relaxed. I had to recuperate because the weekend before, I think I shared with you, I did that celebrity tour and had a chance to hang out with Patti LaBelle and October London, which,
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
he can
October
sing,
London.
can't he?
Oh my goodness, the new Marvin Gaye.
Yes, sir. He can
Yes,
sing. He
he's
can
such a,
sing.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
such a
I watch
sweetheart.
his videos.
Yeah, that Miss Patti LaBelle for 79 years old is just she is amazing.
She's 79.
She's 79 years old.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
Terry, hopefully at some point in time, she'll let us little folks in with her. She'll give us some passes to get there to, kind of network with the rich and famous, but we're working on it.
I'm still trying to
Yeah, yeah,
network.
you could take Veronica. I
She
told
ain't
Tony,
already been there. But that one, I mean, the backstage tour and just hanging out with her band and that
it's
was
a different
Absolutely.
amazing.
perspective, right?
It really is.
It,
And to hear
it
them
is.
talking on the van, talking to actual other, I listened to a
They're
conversation
just
with,
regular people.
yeah, just John Legend was on the phone. Somebody called Jamie Foxx. I mean, it was just a trip. So that
Oh,
led up to Thanksgiving. Mom cooked like usual. We're all fat and probably 10 pounds heavier, but
you
enjoyed
know,
my.
in another life, I spent a lot of time in that work.
I
So,
know, I know.
you yeah, once I won't say starstruck, but once you get into that world, and especially when you start working there, you
Right,
know, it's a different thing. You kind of just buckle down and say, "Hey, I'm here to work," and
right.
and do that kind of stuff. So this weekend, well, this holiday, I spent with my friend Rod. Something I have never done before is spend time a holiday with people other than my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went and hung out with them. Friday night, I mean, no, Wednesday evening, they had seafood. And when I tell y'all, it was great. It was they had crab and shrimp and fish and all that. So we
Oh,
picked,
wow.
yeah. So I got there, I went to work. I love to rattle pots and pans. So I started cooking the fish and stuff, and we had mullet and we had now perch, and crabs
Fresh,
and shrimp. Huh?
like with
Yeah,
the
fresh,
barbecue?
fresh. Not
Mm,
not huh?
mm,
Oh, you
mm.
can't. You can. Oh, that's the way to eat. You know how you prevent the bones from choking you, right?
Yeah, just eat some bread.
Yep. There you go. So you
No,
a Southern girl. See, you know the remedy. So
I
so
ate
yeah.
a
So
lot growing up.
yeah. So we did that. It was a nice time. And Rod's mother came. I think she's 80 or 81.
Oh, wow.
She came up from Miami and stuff. Very sweet lady. I had talked to her a couple of times on the phone, and we just had a good time. Just fellowshipping and meeting new people and stuff. You know me. I'm never without friends wherever I go. I can talk to everybody and anybody. So that was our holiday weekend. So tonight, the crew is going to take over from the only man on here, and that's our call in number right there. Y'all can actually call in tonight if you got something to add to this conversation. The number is 352-431-7665. And we'd love to hear from our audience. And you can certainly chime in on this if you got a story. So I'll turn it over to you ladies.
All right, excellent. What we're going to do is, since we're just finding out that we're going to be taking over the show tonight, so we'll um, do off the cuff. What I would like to do is start out by introducing the fabulous attorney that's going to be on with us today. So would that be okay?
That is perfect.
Okay, awesome. Her name is Miss Lisa Knox. Attorney Lisa Knox practices marital and family law. This includes child custody, child support, divorces, post-judgment modification, same-sex family law issues, and paternity actions. Collaboratively law adoptions, including step-parent adoption, traditional adoptions, and second-parent adoption, and dependency, including interventions. In addition, she is a Florida Supreme Court certified family law mediator. To each client that she represents, Lisa makes a personal commitment that she will represent their unique interests by providing honest evaluation, realistic expectation upon open communication, creative solutions, and most importantly, skilled legal knowledge. She is a native of Florida, born and raised in Old Town, which is Orlando. She earned her bachelor's degree in psychology from Tuskegee University and a master's degree in industrial organization psychology with a focus on consumer psychology from the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. Lisa earned her Juris Doctor from Barry University, Dwayne O. Andrea School of Law. She did not take the traditional path to practice in law. Prior to attending law school and practicing family law, Lisa experienced issues with divorce, child custody, child support, domestic violence, and then subsequently life changes that helped her experience to be as great as she is today. In addition, she led a successful career in the corporate world as an entrepreneur. After gaining such life experience and overcoming major life changes, she decided to follow the path for which she was designed or born to do, and that is to practice law. Because of her life experience that she gained prior to practicing law, Lisa brings a unique perspective to representing her clients. Each of her clients will benefit from the holistic approach that she has taken in reviewing and analyzing their cases and their unique situations. For each case and client, Lisa thoroughly considers not only the applicable law and legal strategies to address the issues, but she also considers how the legal strategy and its execution will serve each client best interest after their case comes to a conclusion. Her goal is to leave each client stronger, more prepared, and more confident in their new normal than they were before they retained her. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the amazing Miss Lisa Knox.
Oh,
She's
God.
backstage, bring her in. Hey, how are you doing?
Oh,
Right. How are you all? I'm so excited to be
Wonderful.
here.
I'm going to drop the mic. You have done some amazing things. So what I'm going to do is let you take a minute and kind of give us an elevator speech of who you are and what you do.
Okay. So I can tell you all, I want to tell you before anything, I am so thankful and grateful that you all invited me. I am so excited. This is going to be the highlight of my week for sure.
Well, good.
So thank you. In a nutshell, I bring common sense to family law issues.
Mm.
That's what I do. I am I like to remind my clients, I'm a family law attorney. I am not a divorce attorney. I'm not a, beat them upside the head, take away your kids, burn it all down attorney. I'm a family law attorney because what I recognize more so than anything is that in the beginning, when you come to me, it's because you are having a family issue. In the end, regardless of how that issue is resolved, you will still be family in some way, shape, or form.
Well
and
said.
so my job is to honor that. But that does not mean, now keep this in mind, that does not require that we have to be stepping stones and punching bags, right?
Right.
But it does require that we have to keep that in mind, and that I have a charge to my clients to keep it in mind, that when I leave, they still stay.
Okay. How do we contact you or reach you? What's your phone number or email address? And give us all that information.
All right. So everyone can feel free to go to my website, LM Knox, that's KNOX, it's an X-ray, so lmknoxlaw.com. you can give us a call at 813-447-3001, or you can feel free to email me at Lisa, Lisa, at lmknoxlaw.com.
Outstanding.
Boy, you just hear that flow of information. Don't you love it?
Well, one of the reasons why we wanted to have this show is because Miss Tony and myself, we are all a part of a blended family.
Right.
And myself, as a life coach, I've gotten so many phone calls and conversations about a lot of crazy stuff that goes on with the blended family. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Tony and kind of let her share her experience, and then we'll ask questions in between. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, in my experiences, I married someone that had 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
I had 1, and
Mm-hmm.
we had 2 together.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting dynamic. 5 boys and 1 girl.
Oh,
Yes, 5 boys. 5 boys.
okay.
She's the knee baby, the second
Okay.
to the last. Very interesting because we held on to a unwanted baby mama because they were never married,
Right.
and she just didn't know how to let go.
Right.
And I think because they had children together, he didn't know how to let go either.
Sounds complicated. Keep going.
I
But
was
common.
very common, very
Yes.
common. And so my take on it, I just dove into into the what about the children
Right.
scenario, because first and foremost, they're first.
Mm-hmm.
He had 3 boys. I had a son, and then we had a boy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very interesting. The part that caused the fight all the time was because he had the 3 boys. I had his only daughter. That was a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would not marry him until everybody was in one household because I wanted everybody to have the same opportunity.
Mm.
You wouldn't leave. You were not gonna leave my house saying you didn't know and nobody helped you. Or you was over here with her and you didn't help us and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
No. We're not doing that. We're not even starting out like that. And so we had to have a heart to heart. We
Mm-hmm.
sat down, we talked, we tried to communicate with her. That never did take place.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, all in all, and I know I'll go into some more as I hear you speak. Now we have 1 that is incarcerated, 1 that is deceased, and the other 4 are doing fine.
Okay.
But the one that's incarcerated and the one that's deceased is because they could not get it right.
Right.
So I'm gonna leave it there
Okay.
because I know just that little bit I said, you see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you say you make it make sense.
Yeah.
Where it's not about arguing and punching each other upside the head and this, that, and the other, So I'll let you take it on from here.
Well, now before I start, let me just give this disclaimer. The lawyer in me has to give this disclaimer. So everyone who's listening, this is not legal advice for your unique situation.
Right.
I'm not giving legal advice. We're talking. Okay. If you have a legal situation like this, then I would advise you and encourage you to contact an attorney who is competent and capable of taking care of your legal issue. If you need directions, then you can always feel free to contact my firm, and I'm sure we're going to get you to the right place. Okay. All right.
Now that we got that out of the way.
Now that we have that out, now that the housekeeping is out of the way, Miss Tony, let us acknowledge let's take a deep breath though, because that was a lot.
It was.
You know,
that's just the tip of the iceberg, but go ahead.
Oh, I know it's a lot going on. Yes. But this is what before we move forward, let me tell you this, because whether your son who is incarcerated and your son who was deceased, whether they were born of your flesh or not, you'd already made a commitment to be a mama.
Exactly.
So my heart, as a mama, my heart reaches out to you and gives you a smooth hug, a smooth, genuine hug, for sure. With that being said, baby mamas.
Ooh, child.
Song in the background.
That's a book.
Now I will tell you, and this is from what I see, but also what I've lived. Okay.
Oh.
I'm a big fan of, if at all possible, all parents working together.
Mm-hmm.
Children didn't ask for you all to get together. Children didn't ask for y'all to break up. Children didn't ask for whatever went on, right? And I'm a firm believer that people can be lousy significant others, hateful husbands, horrible wives, right? In all aspects, however you want to take that phrasing, right? All of it could be horrible and still be wonderful parents.
True.
And maybe not even wonderful parents in the way that you all would expect, maybe they don't honor the bedtime that you expect, or, the rules, the house rules and all that, but they're still the parents that those children need, or that child needs. So keep that in mind, because we have to first come from the thought process that God doesn't make any mistakes and everyone who is here was meant to be here, right? So now let's move forward. Baby mamas, amen. Grain of salt, because here's the thing. I have dealt with the baby mama. I'm sure I'm going to deal with the baby mama. And guess what? I have been a baby mama, an ex-wife, but still a baby mama. And I think the best thing, like I said, is to acknowledge, hey, this is one, let me let you know, biological mother, that your child is safe with me. Regardless of what you feel, your child is safe with me.
Right.
You may not like me, but guess what? My significant other may not like you anymore either, right? But your child is going to be safe with us, okay? Right. And I'm going to treat your child the way I would want someone to treat my child, right? That's number one. Number two, it's almost like you have to be willing to be humble. So I say that because I tell people all the time, you got to humble yourselves for the good of the children. Like you said, Miss Tony, it's not about us. It's about the kids. That's exactly the case. It's about the kids.
That's right.
We don't need any more children running around here with mommy or daddy issues, with abandonment issues, with trust issues. We don't need to do that. The world is going to give it to them enough, right?
Absolutely.
So, it's about the children. So if you have to humble, or as my pastor used to say, if you have to humble yourself and, be nice when you don't want to, grin and bear your teeth, let somebody, if they need to, talk about or throw shade or whatever it is, the youngsters call it now. Listen, if it's not going to hurt you or kill you, just go ahead and, let them get that one. Right.
Right.
Understand that hurt people. And when I said, let me back up. When I said baby mamas, I mean baby mamas and baby daddies, because baby daddies be out here showing out too. Okay. But understand that hurt people. Sometimes people don't process goodbye the same way. Right. And sometimes, let us be all the way real, your significant other may not be telling
the entire story.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to say the entire story, Miss Tony. I was going to say something like maybe they were coming from a different perspective. See, I was going to try and dress it up.
He's an attorney. Keep it in mind, right?
Look, I was going to try to put an evening gown on it. Maybe they were coming from a different perspective, But yeah, maybe they told some stories, some untruths here and there, so you don't know where everyone's coming from. Howsoever, and ever so how, there's always that one who is just not going to act right. It doesn't matter what. They haven't met a day where they don't want to show out. I'm okay with that. You've got to be okay with that. You've got to understand that that's who they are. And then you've got to also understand that if you're making a commitment to be in that relationship, knowing that's who they are, don't expect them to change.
Absolutely.
Prepare for them to change, not to change. Prepare for them not to change. Prepare for the drama to come on, and find ways to prevent it. Case in plan. You want to know what's the number one thing that people argue about after they separate and they're dealing with the children? What I hear all the time.
What's that?
Well, when she dropped the kids off, she dropped them off in old raggedy clothes and all.
Wow.
Or when he drops the kids off, he don't ever drop them off with the stuff that he got for them. He says, I got to get my own stuff. Guess what? They may do those kind of things. One, I would tell you to, if you want peace, right, for the children, I would tell you to encourage your significant other not to carry themselves that way. But if they have to, you be the in-between. I was married to my ex-husband, and he had a son who, gosh, I want to say he was like maybe 8 or 9 when we got together. And, you know, he was trying to be in his son's life and so forth, but he was sort of trifling. He wasn't really doing what he needed to do. And you know, it's no shade on him. He knew that. We were talking about it and so forth. And so it was my role to step in and say, hey, you know what? Let me talk to your son's mother, and let's get a schedule going of when your son is coming over every week or every other day or whatever, right? And we can make a big deal of it. Step in if you can.
Right.
You know, it ended up that eventually, you know, I divorced my husband, but you know, we still love my son. You know, he's my oldest son, and his mama. You know, so that's an interesting thing there. But step in if, yeah, yes.
I got a question. I thought I wasn't going to have one, but I just thought about it.
Yeah.
I felt it brewing. I'm already ready. Hit me.
But you know, it's interesting the perspective, but I want to take it to the psychological aspect of where do you set boundaries in these type of relationships? Is this something that should be discussed from the very first time you decide, okay, I'm going to spend my life with this person? We all need to meet and we're going to decide how to co-parent, regardless of the other person's personality. Give them the opportunity to be involved in deciding, you know, and I know that a lot of people don't do that. You know, when I married my wife, she's my second wife, but my kids were all, when we got married, the baby was in high school. He was in the 11th grade. The girls were in college. Okay. They came down, they met her. I set the boundary. You will not come to my house and disrespect my wife. You are always, as my children, welcome in my house. We will not have confusion with your wife, with your mom. I call her. I said, don't call me. Don't bother me. The kids are grown. If they need me, they can call themselves. And that was that was it. So I set boundaries and expectations from jump. And yeah, I've had some little issues over the years, but you best believe they have not been out of control, and they've never went unaddressed immediately. So what is the aspect of and the importance of setting those boundaries?
So I believe in setting boundaries. I set boundaries with everybody, every relationship, friendship, siblingship, you know, male person, whatever. I believe in setting boundaries, right? However, and I'm not gonna poke a hole. I'm just playing. I guess I'm playing a different advocate.
Oh, no, you can poke holes.
Okay, so here's the deal. So that may have worked with your children being adults. Hey, you don't need to call me. You can call them. Now imagine if they're 4 or 5, you know, 2. Right. You know, you can't say, well, you can call them. And boundaries, the game sort of changes a little bit when there's little people involved, because then you start wondering, you know, well, and you know, Lord help us all, we see the news and all that kind of stuff, and people turning around and doing crazy stuff to the children, and automatically the new person is going to be a psycho killer, you know, in your mind. You know, so I do believe there is a point of setting boundaries, but I don't think that it should wait until it's, hey, I'm going to share my life with this person. I think it's well before that.
Right.
I encourage, so when I'm dealing with a divorce or a paternity issue or anything like that, I encourage my clients to understand that, hey, you all right now, you're separated. You can't imagine each other with other people. Possibly sometimes it's already, you know, somebody in there waiting to take the jersey. But for the most part, you can't imagine somebody else in there, you know, but you need to. You need to imagine that, you know, when you're making up these parenting plans, they'll do things like, oh, because the kids are little, oh, you know, let's split Christmas Day. So you have them in the morning and I'll have them in the afternoon. Well, what happens if you get remarried? I can promise you your new spouse does not want to spend Christmas with your old spouse. I put it on everything. They don't want to do that for the most part, right? And so you have to set those boundaries in the beginning. Listen, I don't know what life is going to bring, but I expect that we work this way together. And then set the boundaries with your intended person before you ever get serious with them. Listen, this is what goes on. This is, you know, the mother of my children or the father of my children.
Right.
This is the respect that regardless of how they act, I expect you to give, right? This is what we do in our day-to-day. This is my time sharing schedule, all of it. Mm-hmm. Because it's not just, you know, with the children. I mean, things come up and let's talk about it. Things come up where you will have, you know, ex-spouses who you're still paying alimony to. You need to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Well, before y'all get serious, because that can make a break.
Absolutely.
You know?
Right.
Can I just add something? Tony, I commend you for being so mature at the beginning, but I wasn't that person. I was very immature when I first got into a blended family. I knew I was going into a blended family, but I really wanted it just to be about he and I. And at some point in time, my husband sat me down, looked me in my eyes and said, sweetheart, I love you, but my goal is to raise a man. Mm-hmm. I would love to raise him with you, but I'm going to raise him. So I kind of got the hint then that I had to line up. And another thing that I had to do is I had to put on my big girl underwear every day because there was always a situation. And when you have like teenage kids and grown kids and small kids can be trifling. You have to focus on the outcome of the marriage, because at some point in time, that child is going to grow up. And my first 2 years of marriage, I cried for the first 2 years. And I think mainly because I was very insecure and I didn't know my role as a wife, and going into a blended family, it was shocking for me. You know, things like, how much are we going to give the child for a wedding? When are we going to buy a car? You know, what is the allowance and what's my role as a bonus parent? One of the things that I've learned is that a role as a bonus parent is to support that other parent. And then when you have the other parent that's not in the home, who's not happy, they are going to wreak havoc. Now, one of the things that worked for me in my marriage is because my husband set the boundaries. For instance, he would not allow me to be trifling towards his kids, and he would not allow his kids to be trifling towards me. He meant what he said. So it forced me to kind of grow up. It was very, 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 very difficult. When people say to me, Veronica, what's your opinion on blended family? And I always say, if you can avoid it, do so. But it can be done. It goes down to, you know, the parent that's not happy, they're putting them in every sport in the world. They're creating reasons to get money. We had a situation where they wanted to spend, they wanted to spend Christmas in the same house. That's not going to work. And then I had to grow up. I had to mature, and it was very, very hard. So if you're not having these conversations like, how much we're going to get for college? What's your expectations for me as a bonus parent? And then I had to learn that you have to allow the child to define who you are to them. They don't have to say mom. They can call you by Miss Veronica or what have you. Like we have shared grandchildren. Sometimes they'll say grandmother. Sometimes they'll say Miss Veronica. They get confused.
Right.
You really got to be mature. You can do it, but you got to have some strong conversations. Even like the relationship with my daughter is different from the relationship my husband has with his kid. My daughter's always independent. She don't tell me everything. She does what she want to do, and I don't get in her business. My husband, on the other hand, he was very, he would have conversation with his children, but my daughter and I wasn't raised like that. So just that alone. And then we had a close relationship. We talked all the time. That could have been a major issue. Vacations, let's say graduation. If you were not there those 8 years of school, then, you know, I decided to stay home because I wasn't a part of that journey. And then at the end of the day, once you know who you are, and now the thing is, the parent of that child must be the person. Like, for instance, our marriage was able to work and we were able to blend the family because he was stern about what he meant. Meaning, you're not going to be trifling and they're not going to be trifling. And we all have a great relationship, but it wasn't a overnight process. It was very, very challenging. And I think a lot of the challenges came from my immaturity. And, you know, one thing you have to realize, you're always going to be daddy's wife. Separation. You have to know that you're always going to be, well, not invited, but you can just come along. You just have to know your place in the relationship. It's not bad or good. It just is. If you're going in thinking you're going to be, oh, you're going to be crying in many days, and I had to check myself. Okay, why am I feeling like this? And again, I always go back to Dr. Polite. Thank God for Dr. Polite, because I called him on many days and was just straightforward. This is what I'm going, you know, and then he would just ask me questions, and you know, I would have to think about an answer. And I'm stronger today. So I appreciate my blended family because I was able to see what a man looks like.
Right. I want to go back to roles. When you said that about roles and ducktail off that, with the blend that we had, what I did when I saw what I was working with after about a year, 2 years, 9 days, 6 months, whatever it was. So what I did is I took each one of my stepsons out, and I took them out separately, and we had a very candid conversation about my role. My role in that house is I'm your father's wife, but I'm not your mother. I'm your friend. I am your friend. And whatever you would like to call me in a respectful way is what we're going to, you know, have a platform. And I did that to all three of them. And I ended up with the name Ma Too. And so that's what they called me. And I set that foundation for myself, and that created less headache for me, because not one time did I ever hear, "You're not my mama," because we already set that platform.
Right. Well, I don't want to be of them. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, too, but somebody had to be the grown up, and somebody had to be the grown up. And so I set that foundation early on, because I got the oldest when he was 4. He went to prison when he was 18. So I had a lot to work with. We can talk about this all night, but I'm not. But go ahead.
I think the boys are easier than the girls. What do you think?
No, absolutely not.
No,
Absolutely not.
My daughter right now I would talk to the boys. Oh, my daughter's a piece of work.
Okay.
No,
but
my son, he's 18 now. But when I got with my significant other, my son was so used, you know, from the time he was almost 2 until the time he was 14, he had me to himself. Good, bad, or indifferent. He got the full Lisa Knox experience every day, you know? And then along comes this man who's taking my attention, you know? And it was interesting. I saw a side of my son that I never, you know, seen. He was normally very gentle and all. And I remember one time I was standing outside in the driveway and I was speaking with my guy, and my son comes outside and he does sort of the Samuel L. Jackson move, where he turns his head. He says, "What y'all doing over there? It's getting dark." And he meant that. And it was just the sun was going down and we were just talking. "What y'all doing over there? It's getting dark. Why are you standing so close to my mama?" And it was rough. It was rough. Now, don't laugh, Dr. Polite. Why are you laughing? He was, his little 14-year-old self was going to do whatever he needed to do. But now, you know, fast forward, he's 18. He's off at college, and they have a beautiful relationship. They genuinely love each other. Like they have a relationship outside of me. So I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, if you want to call in, the number is 352-431-7365. We fancy around here, Miss Lisa. So
I have a question.
We want to get some calls. If you're out there in the listening audience and you're watching, you want to call in, you can call us on that number, 431-7365. So I'm listening, I'm taking all this in, and every one of your journeys are so varied and unique. And what would be some basics that people can know that's going into the situation of becoming a blended family? What would you say is the number one thing for them to know before they get completely in? Oh, we got a caller. We got a caller coming through. Let's see if we can get our caller online.
I'm like,
Okay,
Lord,
caller, are you there? Are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, my name's Stephanie. I have a
Okay.
question for Lisa. Lisa, how do you get parents to agree on parent plans? That seems to be the problem right now.
how do I get parents to agree on parenting plans? Stephanie, the truth of the matter is that it depends, and I really don't get people to agree on parenting plans. Let me tell you why. I do my best, especially as a mediator. My role is to listen. So sometimes they come in with the intention on never agreeing with anything at all in life for the rest of their life until the Lord comes back, right? Until the trumpet blows, okay? But I listen because people can respond to what they need. So my job is to find out what is it that they need. Because human nature, it's hard to disagree with what you need. So
Give examples of what a person would need, because I don't understand that.
okay. So for instance, right? Florida statute now says that the father, the legal father of a child, for so long as his name's on the birth certificate and so forth, it's a rebuttable. I don't even know if it's rebuttable. There's a question on that. It's a presumption that father and mother should have 50-50 time sharing. They each share 50-50 time sharing. Now, because people hear 50-50, they go to the first thing that they think of, which is week on, week off. We're going to do week on, week off. And that may not be what the case is. First, let's explore some things, because see, if one parent works 4 12-hour shifts, you know, do they really need 50-50? Is that in the child's best interest to be with daycare for all that time? True. You know? So let's talk about that. So what you need may not be quantity, it might be quality. Mm. However, even if let's say they need 50-50, they both need 50-50 time, which is great, right? I'm all for kids having as much time with both parents as possible. But it might not need to be week on, week off. I would not encourage anyone to have a toddler or a newborn with week on, week off. I would encourage maybe that there is a split throughout the week. You know, 2 days here, 2 days there, 3 days somewhere, you know, day on, day off. However we can do that, you know. But 50% looks different also in different ways. If one parent is, you know, a long distance. So if one parent lives in Jacksonville and the other parent lives in Orlando, you're not exchanging week on, week off for every other day. Nope. But you know what? It might look like 3 weekends every month, the majority of summer break, you know, spring break, all those different things, you know?
So those plans are specific to each situation.
Oh, absolutely. Unique to each situation. Yeah. I've had parents who are like, okay, we want everything to stay the same for our children for so much as we can. So what we'll do, and I was flabbergasted with it, right? What we'll do is we'll rotate the house and the children.
Oh, okay.
Right, exactly. That was my face. Every single one of your faces.
I mean, exactly. Rotate.
That means that 1 week dad is in the house. And I think they did like 2 weeks where it was like 2 weeks dad was in the house, 2 weeks mom was in the house. But during those 2 weeks, the other parent would be able to take the children out to dinner a couple of times. And also nobody went a whole long time without seeing the children, but they rotated the children in the house. So the children stayed in the house. They stayed in the neighborhood with their friends. They stayed at the same school.
Wow, I commend them.
Now that's
right.
So what do you do with a person that's just refuse to
Adhere.
go along with anything. Like
Mhm.
they don't want the children around a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and they're adamant about that. Well, how do you get a compromise then?
So understand that I would love to say I got 100% track record. There's always going to be compromise, but there's not. Some people are going to have to, what is it? You know, they're going to have to see that fat meat is greasy. They're going to have to see that grits is groceries. So
What am I saying?
yes. So, you know, so some people some people you're never going to get through. But for the most part, what I do, and not even for the most part, every time, what I do is I keep it 100% real, and I let people know exactly what they're up against. Because it's going to be hard for anyone to say, hey, this person does not parent like me, but the child is always safe with them. They make sure that the child is always fed. They make sure that there's a safe place for the child to rest their head. They make sure that, you know, they're doing all these things that a good and active parent can do. But she cheated on me, so no, she's no good. No judge is gonna say, well, she cheated on you, so you know that's she's not moral. She doesn't need the child. No judge is gonna say, well, he stopped paying your bills and y'all getting a divorce. Yeah, well, he doesn't deserve that child. Nobody's gonna say that. So I have to remind people with my clients specifically, and then even when I'm mediating, I remind people that family law is it's just as much emotional as it is legal, right? But a court is never going to address the emotional part. That's not the judge's role. That's not the court's role. So they're never going to see how that person has done you for years and years and years and hold it against that person when they're making decisions about who gets the property, who gets the, you know, the children, unless there's some outliers. I mean, if they for years and years and years, you know, embezzled money and stuff like that, yeah, that's going to be taken into consideration. But if overall they were just horrible spouses, you know, or, you know, whatever, they're not going to consider that.
What about domestic violence issues?
Let's talk about that. Domestic violence is a whole other thing. Domestic violence is not that person just being a bad husband or a bad wife. Domestic violence is that person is a threat to your safety, your harm, or to, you know, causing you bodily harm. That person is a serious threat to your safety. Now, I will say this. I don't think, and y'all might get a lot of mail for this. Go ahead and send it to them, y'all. Don't send it to me. I don't think that the domestic violence process is used enough in a lot of cases, and I think it's used too much in other cases. So people will use domestic violence injunctions because keep in mind that's civil, right? They'll involve criminal as well, where they'll call the police, oh, this person hit me and all, and then it's really, you know, not the case. But they'll do civil. Oh, this person is stalking me. Well, why is this person stalking me? Because they called me and I told them not to call me again. But they called you because they want to get their stuff from you. They're calling you for a reason. You know, people will use that to get leverage in cases. In the same instance, I will turn around and I will see, you know, people who are in abusive relationships and they do the injunction and then it's, oh, we've made up, you know, and typically it's, I see a lot of women who do that, but typically when I see it, it is people who, you know, they're sort of codependent on each other. They need each other to pay the bills. They need each other, you know, to help with the children and so forth and so on. So they don't go through with the process. And it's a shame. So I encourage, if you are really in a domestic violence situation, that means that you have been harmed. You are seriously in threat of imminent, meaning it's about to happen, harm. This person is threatening you and you know they can do it because they've done it before, so forth and so on. Yes, call the police. Don't call your friend, call the police.
So what happens when the parenting agreements are broken? What happens to the person that violates it? Because I know a lot of people are listening and they probably have this question.
They do. So I know everybody listening who has this situation going on right now, they want to hear me say, well, they go immediately to jail, but they don't. They don't. Here's the thing. First off, if it's broken, you know, the first question is why? Is it a reasonable excuse, or is there a reason why it was broken? Maybe it was not broken with the idea of, I'm just going to go ahead and breach it completely. I'm not listening to that. Maybe something happened, right? But if it's, I'm not listening to that, nobody can tell me what to do, I'll do what I want to do, then you go, what you know what you do? You skedaddle right on back to that courthouse and you do a motion for contempt. Because if you've done a parenting plan, right, then it needs to have been, the whole purpose of doing a parenting plan or doing any kind of agreement such as that with family is to then make it an order from the court. So if somebody's not doing what is ordered and they're willfully, meaning they can do it, but they just choose not to, they're willfully not complying with that order, go ahead and file a contempt action or an enforcement action and go through the courts. And they will enforce it. A lot of times, though, people don't do that. They don't do it. You know, they think that they can scream and yell and fuss about it. But remember, y'all not in a relationship. That person doesn't care if they got to sleep on the sofa. If you mad, go and enforce it in the courthouse.
You know, and having many conversations with clients and friends and folks that I know, one of the bigger problems that I've seen is mainly stem from the women, is when that person still wants to be with that child's father and they're not happy. I even know some that are married now and still causing all kinds of hell, and it had nothing to do with the kids. And unfortunately, the kids are the ones that suffer. You see these kids that are like kind of timid and afraid to talk about what's going on in their home. They don't feel free to bring mom's name or dad's name. And then it's just so complicated. I mean, we really do have to look at the outcome of how is this going to affect our children, because those children are going to grow up and then they're going to be marrying Tony kids. And they're all of this you know, mother.
Tony said, not her kids. Miss Tony said, no, thank you.
You have to go up. And first, I always say, be careful who you have kids from. And I hear, like you said, parents say, I took him over there and I bought him some Nike and he came back with Kmart shoes. And it's like, okay, this is what you're having an argument about?
Right.
Or where is his shoe? Usually when they do that, it has nothing to do with the kid. It's something personal and they still want to be with that person. Because I found if you're happy, like I'm happy, and I'm happy with my ex-husband's wife. We had a major issue because my ex-husband and I was best friends. Even after we were divorced, he was best friends. He was good friends with my husband. But the wife came in and literally wanted me to stop talking to him, change my last name, and didn't want me to have, you know, even though they was renting our house, let me just say that. I couldn't even come to the house to pick up the rent. And it had nothing to do with me because I was always respectful. We got these dynamics. At the end of the day, it's affecting these kids. And we got these kids coming to me as they become adults and teenagers needing counseling, coming to Tony or going to Terry or coming to see you. With that being said, let me say this here, Lisa. We hear attorneys and we hear like kind of coarse, hard, rough. But you know what? You make me feel so comfortable because you seem like the girl next door. You seem easy to talk to. So any clients that I have that need legal help, I will definitely send them to you. Because you're knowledgeable at the same time, you're not intimidating.
I like to keep it 100 factor with Miss. I like that. When she said that, I knew she was my girl. All the time. You got to keep it.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you do workshops on this?
So
like that.
I do workshops, and I'm actually looking forward and looking for opportunities to do more workshops. I want to get the word out, especially to my Black and Brown communities. There is going to be a bigger push, or there should be a bigger push, especially towards mediation and alternative dispute resolution, because please understand, hear me, if you are within the sound of my voice, these courts are going to get backed up. They are going to get backed up. They are still trying to catch up from the backlash from 2020. They're going to get backed up again. And right now, even trying to set trials for now, we're getting dates of May 2024.
Oh, wow.
So, right. So it go ahead and, let's see if we can resolve issues in different ways. So I truly appreciate you all. I truly appreciate you all. And I love this talk show. And, y'all are about to see me peeping around the corner every time.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Have you ever had a set of clients, divorce clients, that literally came to you and wanted to do the right thing as far as the children go?
Or what's the percentage?
So
Right.
here's the funny
That's
thing.
the question.
I would say probably 60%.
Wow.
And the reason I say that is that most people want to do, probably even higher, like 70%. Most people want to do the right thing by their children. They just don't, one, know what that is, and two, they don't have the tools to put that in place. So that goes back to, once again, I'm a family law attorney. I'm not a divorce attorney. I'm a family law attorney. Let's see how we can make this family, however we need to recreate it. Let's see how we can make this family work.
Okay, and I'm glad you clarified that, because it sounds like it's the same thing, divorce and family law, but it's not. Right?
I do. So family law attorneys take care of divorce cases, right? So people will call me and I will do divorces, right? But not in the sense of what we think of the traditional divorce attorney, the traditional, what we see on TV, the Annalise Keatings of divorce. That's not me. I'm not going to do anything and everything and destroy the other side and all this kind of stuff, because you still got to work with that person. You still got to deal with that person. So, like I said, my job, if you want to get a divorce, I can help you get a divorce. I can help you get a divorce, and I can help you be reasonable about it. And I can still help you stand up for your rights and, and stay strong. Or I'm talking all the young folks terms, as the young folks say, 10 toes down. I can do that. Right.
10
I'm gonna have to write that down. That was new.
Well, yeah. So
I have 10 toes. Right.
Yeah. 10 toes down. So I can do that, right? But at the end of the day, I don't want you to create more harm for your family. Right. Your children are watching. Your family members are watching. Your community is watching. I don't want to create more harm. So I do have something on a different note. I have something I promised Veronica, Miss Veronica.
Okay.
And so I wanted to. Okay. So I'm going to tell you now. Okay.
Okay.
So Miss Veronica, when she reached out to me, she said, "You look so familiar. I don't know where. I know, like, I've seen you. I know we've met and so forth." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, do you go to River of Life?" And I said, "Oh, okay." And she clarified it's in Orlando. I said, "Oh, okay." Now let me tell you all before we go. I am from Orlando. I'm from the Paramore area, crosstown. So Westmoreland. That's my neighborhood. Okay.
That's where I know you from.
You probably so.
Yeah.
You probably do. Absolutely. Crosstown, Hurst Chapel, AME. That was me. Jones High School. That was me. You all.
Yeah. I've been looking at her like, I know this lady.
You all probably know my face. You probably know my relatives. But let me tell you about Miss Veronica. She is a key example of how you have to be sure of what you do, because you never know who is watching and who you will run into.
Right.
The reason I look familiar to you, Miss Veronica, is that my mother used to attend your church. And you used to sit with my mother in church and keep her so entertained.
Who is your mother?
And she used to talk about you. Now, mind you, my mother has passed away since 2019. But when I saw your name, when you reached out to me and I saw your name, I said,
"You used to come to the river?"
Yeah.
That's where I know you from too.
But my mother was faithful. Yeah, my mother was faithful with it. And she talked about you. She thought you were so dynamic. So when I saw your name, Susan Terry Knox.
Yes, yes. I
And
knew, I knew. Her face looked so familiar. You can never go by the hair because it changed.
So show us a picture. Because I bet I know him too.
We have to be careful on
I
how
went
we
to the river.
speak.
That's where I met Veronica. And
Yeah,
that was like what has been about 15 years ago?
it has, or longer. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so important
that's
that
my
we treat people right because you never know. Because she could have
Right.
easily, when I interview someone or someone to come on the show, I'm like, hey, I need you to come on the show, and it's like, but I know you from somewhere, but that's where, because you didn't attend there quite often. You would just come in sometimes. That's right. Okay,
Mhm.
yes, I do remember.
Yes.
Wow, small
Yes.
world. And
A
I'm so
small
proud
world.
you're from the Pelmore area. So you're
Yes.
inspiration to so many people that hey, it's not about where you come from. Well, all of you guys, it's
Mhm.
it's
That's
what
the
you do
story.
in life.
That's the story
Absolutely.
I want to hear. I want to hear
Yeah.
that rise from there. We'll do that on another show.
What? How did you get here? You were very smart in school. You decided to be an attorney. What's your journey?
Real
Personally.
quick, the
Yes.
Lord takes care of babies and fools, and I am no baby. That is the real quick story of it.
And she's no baby.
Listen,
Let's see.
Love it. I love it. I love
listen. Yeah, this is
Trial
one.
by
I
air.
want to say this. I want to say this about Paramore people
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up right there in Carver Court,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and my dad lived over on Terry Street, over on Crosstown. I couldn't
Yep.
stand Crosstown, but anyway, and I say that. Lisa, y'all used to fight on a dime, and every
Oh
time
yeah.
you come over there, you got to fight somebody on
You
Crosstown.
just said
But
10 toes. You ain't
10
hear
toes down.
I know they was 10 toes and 10 fingers and 10
Yes.
all the time.
Right.
And if I used to tell people, if you can't fight, don't go cross town.
Mm-mm.
Well, I lived on the other side. I lived on Columbia and Paramore by Grant Avenue. So I
Oh.
wasn't too far. My sister is Jones High and my parents are Jones High, but I didn't go to Jones High.
Me either.
Astrid Washington's my sister, so she went to Jones High.
Ah.
Yeah, I got away from Jones High as far as I could when I went to school. I graduated from Evans. I went to Orange Center, Old
Ooh.
Street, Carver, and Memorial. So I had the whole full black kid
Yes.
experience.
Yes. Goodness.
Ooh, you
I was
can't walk
tired.
with it.
Hey, I was tired. I told my mom I am not going to Jones. I'm the only member of my family that didn't graduate from Jones.
Really?
Everybody else graduated from Jones.
I went to Jones, and then Jones said, ma'am, if you can go ahead and release your orange and green, we'd appreciate it. Told me
Someone
don't.
said we have a question in the chat. I don't see it.
Uh-oh. There's a
Oh,
question.
I have a question. I hope Miss Stephanie, if you're still listening, I hope you got your answer that you were looking for. If not, the ticker is scrolling. You can contact Attorney Lisa Knox at 813-447-3001. And her
I'm sorry,
website address is also there. Okay.
lmknoxlaw.com.
Yes.
So, we want to give you a shout out because we really appreciate
Love this.
coming, Miss Lisa. That's what the focus of this show is about. This is a revamp show with an additional host. Me and Veronica started this show years ago, and we were on radio. And we said, hey, we talked it over last year. She started, let's do another show. I was like, oh, man. But, we wanted to be a platform where people like you could come on and give this information to community focus. Not so much we trying to reach the world. We're trying to focus on helping our community get information, resource, and educate them. So we talk about love and we talk about real life stuff on here. So, and that's needed. That's needed. We need to bring the village back to the town square. This is a town square type show. And anybody out there that's interested in coming on and sharing your story or whatever, you can contact one of us on our Facebook page. And we would love to hear your story. The other show I produced, we just had on Sharika Rucker's family last night, her mom and her brothers. And we talked to them about what they're dealing with her death. So it's very important that we take advantage of having these platforms where we can reach out to everyday people who want to tell their story and share their journeys and stuff. So, we thank you for being on here tonight.
I thank y'all for having me.
One question.
Yes.
The question in the link was, do you practice in multiple counties or just Orlando?
No. Actually, my office is based out of Tampa. I'm originally from Orlando. My office is based out of Tampa. However, I am licensed to practice throughout the state of Florida. I specifically practice sort of the I-4 corridor, Pinellas, Hillsborough, Polk, Osceola, Orange. I will go into Seminole as well, Pasco, Manatee, and Sarasota counties. And so that's a broad spectrum there.
But what about Lake? I'm over here in Lake.
So. I will go and I will mediate in Lake, but I already got Polk County. So,
You got your hands full.
Let's say no more. I know.
Your hands full in Polk County.
So she's busy.
And
no, that ain't it.
We'll call it that.
Hey, it's a different breed of folks, ain't it?
We'll call it that. I got Polk County. I can't do Polk and Lake now.
I know, cause man, I used to do. Me and my wife used to do volunteer counseling over here. And if you think Orange County make you scratch your head, shoot, come on, you like what? Mm-hmm. So I feel where you're coming from.
Well,
exactly.
I wanted to invite a gentleman who is an author, and he wrote a book called Blended Family. So with your permission, and Terry, can we do a part 2 of this here?
Yes.
I would be so honored. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got me.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So we'll plan that. And again, Miss Lisa, thank you. Any parting thoughts from the crew?
Lisa?
No, the only thing I ask in this world, if you take anything else or nothing else from me, just take this, be kind to each other and yourselves. That's it.
Right. Ms. Veronica?
I enjoyed the show today, and thank you so much, Ms. Knox, for saying yes on such short notice and having a great attitude about it. We do appreciate that, and we look forward to seeing you on part 2.
And the Guru?
I equally enjoyed the show. I love your zeal and your zest and your spirit, and I am so looking forward to just kind of chatting with you and bending your ear in some work and things that we all do on the outside, especially when it comes to workshops.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I want to big up Miss Veronica. You have officially become the talent booker because you get some great gifts, and I think that's your forte for this show. So
I really think so.
We're gonna hand this over to you. So,
I'm thinking what they say in the streets. I'm picking up what you're dropping.
Yeah, so this is Miss Lisa. Thank you so much. You've been a
thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Yes, and to our audience and the Love and Real Life family, we want to see y'all back here. We are on the air every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Like I said, if you want to join the broadcast, please like and share us. We're trying to grow big, especially through Central Florida. We want to reach our communities. For everyday people. This is not like the radio. See, the radio and the TV don't want to pay attention to people like us, but we'll listen to your story and we want to hear from you. Hit Miss Veronica up. She has now become the official talent book.
Yes, hired.
Love in Real Life. And you point and we shall go. So anyway, God bless. See y'all next week. And thank you again to our special guest, Miss Lisa Knox. You can reach her at 813-447-3001, or you can check her out on her website at lmknoxlaw.com. Until next time, this has been Love and Real Life, and we out.